TV party tonight!
Oh, we got nothing better to do than watch TV and have a couple of brews.
Don't want to talk about anything else.
We don't want to know.
We're dedicated, yes.
To our favorite shows.
Oh, my tickets!
Everybody loves Hypnotoad.
Scary dog!
Blurson at Blurnsville.
Futurama!
Good evening, afternoon, whatever time this is happening. You are listening to a Radulich and Broadcasting premiere podcast TV party tonight. I'm your host, the mandated reporter, and frankly, I'm mortified, Mr. Mark Radulich. And tonight we are reviewing Animaniacs Season 2 and Looney Tunes Season 3, both of which I believe had premieres for their seasons in the month of November, and we're just now getting caught up on these. Yeah, Animaniacs was November 5th, and Looney Tunes was November 25th. So we're doing them in one show for you here at the end of December, because sure, why not? Joining me is my animation partner in crime from Honeysuckle Rose Creations, Alexis Hejna. How do you do, madam?
How's it going? And happy Narf Day.
Happy Narf Day? What's that?
From the episode, one of the episodes we're going to talk about today.
It's too long ago. I don't remember.
Oh, well, this is a wonderful setup. By the way, I sure hope you're cutting those plastic rings. I still have haunting images of turtles tangled up in those things.
Absolutely. Which tells you how, like, slapdash I kind of threw this all together, because I went to the dentist this morning, and then I've been doing stuff to prep for the month of January, and it was like, oh Christ, it's like almost time to record. I like ran to like grab food and grab a drink with the ring still on it. So I'm all messed up here. All right, so Animaniacs. Let's jump right into season 2 here, and I have to say the first thing is a minor quibble, a minor complaint. You know, you can see in the background that I'm using, if you're watching on video, the big part of the marketing was they were going to do this like Thundercats opening. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. And I thought it would either be, you know, like occasionally Family Guy does a cold open to their show, mimicking another television show, like they've done the Naked Gun before. They've done some other ones. And I thought, okay, well, maybe they'll just open in Animaniacs. Instead of doing the traditional theme, they'll do the Thundercats thing, and they'll really have some fun with it.
It was 20 seconds. It
was 20 seconds, and they did nothing else with it, like other than dressing up the Animaniacs all muscular and giving I think Yakko Lion-O's sword. They didn't really do anything with it. They didn't do anything to sort of parody the Thundercats or have any kind of editorial perspective on it. It was just like, wouldn't it be funny? And then I thought, okay, well, maybe this will lead into something else. If it's not the intro, if it's just part of the cartoon, maybe it'll lead to something else that they were going to do. And like, no, it just ends and we're off and on to another thing.
Pretty much. They fight a giant robot of Ralph. And the world sits there and goes, whoever decided to give Dot boobs, you need to be drug onto the street and shot.
Yeah, it was rough.
There's certain things just you don't do in animation, folks.
No kidding. Anyway, so just in general, what did you think of Animaniacs Season 2?
We are seeing some improvements over season 1. Some of the things we talked about, we said we wanted to see more returning characters since they got rid of all of the all the other side characters, as it were. So it was fun getting to see some other characters from season 1 return. Julia the Mouse coming back. I was really glad to see that. That little cameo from the Benedict the Dragon was neat. Even the little cameo from the faux Arnold Schwarzenegger parody was kind of nice. The animation is a little bit better. Nothing we talked about with the first seasons. We felt there was no real consistency with the animation. With the exception of our main characters, there was no concrete design for anyone else. It looked like every single other character was designed by a different animator. And it just, there's a lack of consistency to it, and it feels very uneven and uneasy. This one, you're starting to see a little bit more consistency, so it's a bit better. I think it's still a little over the top on certain places. They've also toned down, thank God, some of the expressions on the human characters. Keep going back to that one episode with Seth Meyers where they're doing the creepy smile, and I'm like, does Seth Meyers have that creepy of a smile, or did somebody just really get high when they animated that? I don't know. So this was a little bit better. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think they need to tone down the meta just a tiny bit. Animaniacs was known for its meta humor being extremely topical. It's one of the things we loved about it. But it wasn't all like that. You know, there were still several episodes where they were able to do that without it being to get it, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, say no more. This season was very meta, very on top of what was going on. I've lost track of how many times Pinky and the Brain went up against Putin, Madeira, and Kim Jong-un. I mean, clearly that's like, okay, so we can't animate Bill Clinton anymore. Let's animate these three all over again. Because you know how often Bill Clinton made cameo appearances in the original series. Like I said, I kind of want them to tone that down a little bit and find just a nice... Like I said, obviously that's not going to happen entirely, but I want to see some more episodes where that's not the joke, as it were.
Okay, so that was definitely one of the first things I wanted to talk about, and it's interesting to hear you say, like, maybe let off on the meta humor and write some jokes without having to depend on that. One of the criticisms I had of the first season was it just felt very angry. Like the writers, we talked about that at length, where the writers just, like, they had a bone to pick with people who voted for Trump. They had a bone to pick with a lot of different things. And it comes off, there were things that were funny about it, but it definitely comes off like an angry agenda at times, which is weird to have in your kids show that was, you know, that's airing on Hulu. And let's not forget that, yes, Animaniacs, certainly us being included, has an adult audience, but it's still a children's program. This is not BoJack Horseman.
Exactly.
And so I was like, why did we feel the need to go there? And then this season, and this is one of the things I thought was better about it, I actually thought this had less of an angry sounding agenda to it. This had less of an angry tone. I thought a lot of the episodes in this one were just, you know, they were having fun with the Animaniacs, and they were in fact, I thought, writing some pretty keen and funny jokes without having to depend too heavily on a political message. That's me. I don't know if you and I just saw it differently, or we're commenting on different aspects of it. But I definitely enjoyed season 2 a little bit more than I enjoyed season 1 for that reason.
Oh, without doubt, season 2 was much more enjoyable. Another thing I'm glad they finally upped on, as weird as it sounds, was their educational shorts. We talked about this in the previous season. One of the things you and I think most fans agree they love about it, the original Animaniacs, was some of their educational songs. Yakko's World, or The Countries of the World by Yakko Warner, Wakko's America, stuff like that. And we talked about how we felt they were trying to set some of that up in the first season, but it didn't go anywhere. Like the vote for women's rights suddenly turning into a cartoon characters deserve to vote thing. And we're going, wait, what? You know, where'd that go? This one, we get a couple fun little songs about the Bayou Tapestry. I really liked Yakko's The History of the World song. That was pretty good. I think the one that really got me about the whole meta thing was the obvious Duck Amuck episode.
Oh, yeah.
Which was, I saw a teaser for this with the Pepe Le Pew thing, because obviously with the whole controversy with Pepe Le Pew is canceled, we knew that segment was going to, you know, really go viral, and it did. And it was funny. But first of all, like I said, it gets a little too meta with Yakko going like, you did this like 60 years ago, and this is obviously a parody of Portal with the Portal of the Sky. It's like, we don't need to hear that. And then it goes very bizarre where Yakko gets a hold of the animator, and we're expecting they're going to follow through with Duck Amuck and Rabbit Rampage, and it's going to be like one of the Warner siblings or even Chicken Boo or something. Scratch and Sniff or something.
Right.
And it's no one. It's just this female animator that we've never seen before, and she's like, which misses the point of Duck Amuck, don't you think? Exactly.
The point of Duck Amuck is Bugs Bunny messing with Daffy Duck.
Yeah.
You know,
Hence
they
why
are
it works with the sequel Rabbit Rampage, because that's Elmer Fudd messing with Bugs Bunny.
right, and it's an act of revenge. You know, it's like I can't get you in the cartoon, so I will get you this way. Which, just as an aside, and we'll talk about this with Looney Tunes. My daughter, say hi, daughter. No, be on camera when you say it. There you go. So
Hey,
my daughter, well, as we were watching, we binged Looney Tunes yesterday, and it's like no matter what other character this is happening to, she focuses strictly on Bugs Bunny. Goes, why does Bugs Bunny always win? You know, it's a great frustration for her.
Yeah, me too.
And my son Jonas, hi.
Hello.
You're not on camera.
Hello.
There we go. Go
Hello.
away, Max Headroom.
Go show the kids. Oh my God, there was nothing but an arm there. Go show your kids early Bob Clampett cartoons. Bugs tended to lose more in those.
But the point being, getting back to the Animaniacs bit, is no one's messing necessarily with Yakko out of revenge. Like, I don't remember what her motivation was to do any of that.
Something just about how it was a release for her. It was just a stress release, and that's all. She's like, it's like something other than my geeky tea collection. This is all I have. I don't know. It was
that's a
really
joke
a little too
land.
topical.
Yeah, that didn't land at all. Speaking of my son who just ran in on camera, we're not going to go through all of these, but there were some that hit more so with us than others. Wakko waits endlessly for his new video game app to load. You're a geek. You've played video games. I don't know if you're still an active gamer, but have you know the pain of, like, you put your game in, you're getting ready to play, you're all set, you've got your drink nearby, you got your feet up, you are ready to get involved in whatever this thing is, and it's like needs an update
all the time.
And, apparently that's one of the great frustrations with modern gamers now, is that these games are so complex and they're constantly putting patches out. You are constantly mid-game having to upload things and patch things and wait for things to load, and it takes forever. Not to mention the interstitial, like, little movies in between each level apparently also take forever to load now.
Oh, trust me, we just installed Baldur's Gate 3 on our main desktop. You do not want to hear how loud the fan is now to work with those graphics cards. Andre's playing, and I'm just sitting there going, I'm pretty sure this thing is either going to crash or explode.
Or fly away.
One of the two. Well, one of the three. Yeah, it's just... So, yeah, no, that one was funny, and they thought they did a pretty good job with it. Let me see here. I thought the Noah's Ark episode was kind of funny. That was sort of a clever idea that the Warners had a second arc for all the mythological creatures.
Oh, yeah, that's a fun one.
That was cute. That was very cute. So let's see here. What else? We got the return of Starbox and Cindy and the incredible gnome in people's mouths. I will say Starbox and Cindy is a little funnier this time, because I complained the first time that it was obvious that the audio was just an animator recording his infant daughter talking, just rambling about something, and they animated over it. And I'm just like, yes, that the joke is that you have a cute kid. Got it. This one, they do the same, but it's clear they gave a little more direction to the kid who was recording, because the situation now is that the alien's trying to escape bath time. So at least it's just like, okay, at least now what she's saying is a little more relatable, because now the kid's saying, oh, you need a bath. It's like, see, that's actually kind of funny. Just hearing a kid suddenly go, I had a dream and then the toilet is stinky. That doesn't work.
Yeah. Late in the season, they do a 2-part Oliver Twist one, which I don't know. I in my head, and maybe I'm way off on this, but it almost, if not totally in tone, in theme, but somewhat in tone and tenor, it felt very Wakko's Wish to me. Like, it was just really
very
bizarre.
much.
Yeah, talk to me about the Oliver Twist one in your mind.
It was a little weird. The musical parodies were good. I thought I love the consider yourself freelance. So, as someone who has worked freelance a good chunk of her life, that was really good. But yeah, again, I feel like they had the idea for the songs, and they just tried to cram the actual sketch in with it.
So one of the things we talked about was how they use the show much like Family Guy. Animaniacs goes out of its way to parody, critique a lot of modern things, and so again, another modern gaming thing, which my son got a huge kick out of. We have all of these devices. I focus on video games, but it also happens a little bit with television, where your device will tell you, "Hey, you've been on the couch for too long. Maybe get up." And
the Mayfly. that admittedly, I thought that was okay. First of all, the whole thing about the Mayfly thing was hilarious, even though crazy random how that started. And I just love how they actually played it up. They paused the opening credits, did this whole thing, and they're like, okay, now back to the opening credits.
Right, they let an exercise break, which I got a kick out of, and I thought that was okay. So. That's not a joke that'll age very well, but it's very funny right now. The other one I wanted to talk about was the Christopher Columbus episode.
Oh boy,
this is one of the few where I was like, got something you want to talk about there, fellas?
Yeah, no kidding. Again, it's like, okay, do you have a bit of an agenda here? I have no problem with rechristening Columbus Day as Indigenous Americans Day or Indigenous Peoples Day. I am fine with this. But
this is not a battle I'm going to fight with you right now about. It was one of those where I'm just citing the fact that, boy, they had a very concerted opinion here. And it works for an audience that's receptive to that, but not everyone may be. And it comes across as a bit...
ham-fisted?
Yeah, it comes across a bit ham-fisted, a bit angry. Like I said, they did a really good job of not sounding angry this season, except for this part of the episode.
The repeated refrain of, does he really deserve his own day?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, whether or not you agree with the rechristening of Columbus Day is neither here nor there, and that is, again, not the place. This is really not the podcast to discuss it.
Nope.
But yeah, it's like, sorry, some of us do have other things to do today. But it's very similar to the first season, where it's just like, wow, you guys really had something to say here, didn't you?
And to... Robert brings this up occasionally on Damn You Hollywood, how there are certain things that seem to be done just to get, like, kudos on Twitter. Which I don't know what currency a kudo on Twitter's, buys you. I guess if you work in the entertainment field in Los Angeles, you may or may... We make this joke all the time that there are some critics on Rotten Tomatoes where we feel like the only reason why they wrote what they wrote was to get invited to sexy parties. and that's kind of how I felt about that. It was just like, I don't know, maybe like kids in school might be, learning about the dark side of Columbus, or they may be excising him entirely from curricula. And so maybe that works for them. Like, my kids didn't seem to care. And maybe most people who might be watching this with their kids wouldn't care either. And even if they had the opposite thought regarding Columbus, they still wouldn't care, because it's like, stupid Animaniacs. I don't know. It was one of those where, like, of all the things you're going to take a shot at, in your show, of all the things you can make fun of all the agendas and check marks you could be, using your show to talk about, really, you're going to jump on the already battered and bruised and nearly dead Columbus, as an icon of American history.
Which do you think was more ham-fisted, the Columbus or Nero, world's biggest quotation marks?
Yeah, the Nero one didn't bother me nearly as much as the Columbus one did, and that just might be personal taste.
Maybe it's also because that one was actually kind of funny, because even though the quotes, we knew who they were parodying and making fun of, the fact that they kept it so close to the chest with, that the fact that this guy sounded like Nero, looked like Nero. Well, yes, can I help you? Oh, you dropped your toy. Got it. Sorry, I'm getting claws on the shoulder again. Not to mention, the Nero episode had my favorite joke in the whole series, and it's really a bad sign that the part that makes me laugh the hardest out of this whole season happened in the first 30 seconds of the show.
Yeah.
The Pompeii snow globe. I loved that. That made me laugh so hard.
So I don't remember if you've already referenced this one, but it's towards the end of the thing. They've got Yakko explains the history of the world to a race of aliens. I remember laughing a lot at that.
That was good.
Dot teaches a dramatic math lesson involving beach balls. I'm pretty sure I laughed at that one.
What did you think of the brain using the device to go back in time to bet on basketball games, which starts to rip apart the space-time continuum?
I was amused. I was thinking about Jesse during that one because he's such a time travel nerd.
Not gonna lie though, the sudden combination of animation, I actually went out of holy crap when I saw Pinky and Felt.
Last thing I just want to ask you real quick, and then we'll move on to Looney Tunes. We haven't talked a whole lot about Pinky and the Brain this season. I remember Pinky and the Brain's cartoon spinoff being so funny.
Oh,
You know, we talked about that a whole bunch of times. We covered the first volume of the DVD, you know, and just, you know, there were things to this day that I will quote, Maurice the sheep loving carrot and
Hippo in a beach song.
Yeah. But me and Pippi, my wife will often ask me, you know, when it seems like I'm distracted. And she'll be talking to me, and I have utterly tuned her out because I've tuned out the entire world. I've gone to another dimension, and she'll snap me back, and she'll just look at me, and go, "But me and Pippi Longstocking,
yeah, what the children look like."
Well, yeah, which is the sign that I was not listening at all. You know, it's that whole what's in Pinky's brain episode.
Yeah. Oh my god,
I
love
that for her,
episode.
and she was like, "Wow, that is you at times." I just in another world. My point being, I can't remember. Now, granted, this was a month ago. I cannot remember a single thing from this season that made me that stayed with me. Like I may have laughed in the moment, but I don't think there was anything that stood out to me like Brainy the Pooh or Maurice the sheep loving carrot or any of that stuff from the and that's like what 20 years ago. I can still remember all that stuff. But I can't remember from a month ago what I watched on this season of Animaniacs.
I can remember some of the plot lines, but I don't really remember any of the major jokes. I think the only one that I remember is, again, from the first episode where they teleport and they accidentally end up merged. And that's just because you get a lot, as their brain waves start to cross over, Brain starts talking like Pinky. And it's always fun to hear Maurice LaMarche suddenly do a really good impersonation of Rob Paulsen's Pinky. Just, yeah, all of a sudden it's like, okay, so go open that thing that looks like pudding. Ooh, pudding. Just, again, things like that's fun, but it goes down more to the voice actor than the actual writing and the humor.
I agree. All right, so anything else you want to talk about before we move on to the next bit?
Like I said, it's definitely showing improvement. I like that we're getting development of the other characters. I love that we're seeing more of Nora, the new CEO of Warner Brothers.
Yeah,
I
she was fun.
complained. Yeah, I complained in the first season that I felt like she didn't have a character, so to speak. It was just, oh, look, it's a modern day CEO. No, she has a character now. We see her with her daughter. The daughter comes back once or twice, also really good. So again, we're seeing improvement and we're seeing them move away from the things we didn't like about the first season. But this is still not where I think it needs to be entirely. One hell of a cliffhanger to end up on the end of the season now with Ralph being in charge of Warner Brothers. That's
well, I hope they do something with it. Oh, but it isn't just like, oh, that's a funny gag to end on, and then we're back to, you know,
Ralph the security guard. Yeah.
Well, it got renewed for a third season, so I guess we'll come back and do this again. I have to tell you, just and this will be my transition into the first plug of the evening. So we both kind of collectively bailed out on Jellystone. You were, I think, busy with cons at the time. I am always busy with this stuff, and so if I have to lose a show here or there, I don't get too upset about it. You know who? I think I might have said this to you. You know who constantly brings that up, that we never did it, and thinks we need to go back?
Your son.
My son, who thinks like Jellystone is the funniest thing he's ever seen, and he's watched Animaniacs, he's watched Looney Tunes, and he's watched Jellystone, and that's the one he prefers the most, was Jellystone. It's the one he talks about the most.
I watched one episode of Jellystone. And I messaged you and I said, Mark, if you love me, you will not make me sit through any more of this.
Okay. We got to let her finish talking before you interrupt her. Or you could do what everyone else does and just talk over each other. Here, come on.
And also, I I don't like Yellowstone the most, Lily. Not thinking about it. I do really like I changed my mind and I now like the Animaniacs cartoon more.
Okay, bye.
Yeah.
He never stops talking about Jellystone. Don't listen to him. All right.
Yeah, no, I messaged you after the first episode and I was like, please strike this. I cannot sit through any more
Honestly,
of this.
there was nothing to talk about other than like this is the worst thing we've reviewed yet, but my sons thought it was fantastic. So, different audiences, I guess. It definitely was not made for us. But I am curious, it's yet another HBO Max deal. They're close to announcing a date for Secrets of the Mogwai, which is supposed to be animated. And
Secrets of the Mogwai as in Gremlins.
Yes. Have you not heard about this?
No, actually, I haven't.
Oh yeah, they announced when they launched HBO Max, there was a whole list of stuff that was in like various stages of development that was forthcoming. A animated Secrets of the Mogwai series is coming up soon. HBO Max's quality in terms of these cartoons is questionable at best.
Putting it mildly. Will you quit dropping this?
All right. With that said, what would help with the writing of any of these things really in this world is Grammarly. For you listeners of TV Party Tonight, Grammarly's AI-powered products help people communicate more effectively. Grammarly helps you write mistake-free on Gmail, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and nearly anywhere else you write on the web. Grammarly corrects hundreds of grammar, punctuation, and spelling mistakes while also catching contextual errors, improving your vocabulary, and suggesting style improvements. To download Grammarly today, go to getgrammarly.com/W2M Network. Again, that's getgrammarly.com/W2M Network to download Grammarly for free. All right, Looney Tunes, here we go.
Now, talk about improvement over season 1. Again,
oh my God,
we are seeing everything that we said we wanted to see more of. HBO Max is clearly listening to our podcast because we're getting more of it. But I'm just going to say this: stop with the gross out humor. For the love of God, the fried rabbit machine and everyone loves mayonnaise has been burned into my brain.
Yeah, there's always one or two of these where I have to revert my eyes, and I think that was the one where I was like, "Oh, this is gross."
Yeah, street gum, wear me, fried rabbit sandwich.
Yeah, all yuck.
Very yuck.
So it's funny because we talked about Christopher Columbus and Animaniacs. See, here's how you do it right. The gag with Sam that opens up season 3, where he's Sam the Conquistador and he's doing a Christopher Columbus parody, and like this is straight out of the Eddie Izzard bit with "Do you have a flag?" He's like, "If my flag touches it, it belongs to me now." And then the whole thing is him being tricked by Bugs Bunny with his own gimmick. That's funny. Yeah.
I was terrified when we got the bit where he builds the wall around the island that this was suddenly going to turn into a Trump thing. No, they made it a border crossing joke.
Yeah.
Border crossing has been an issue since America was first made. This is
it
not
doesn't have to be America. You try sneaking into any country.
True. So yeah, this is not, overly meta. This is actually funny, and it works because I saw the wall. I'm like, oh God, please don't. Oh, thank God they didn't.
No, like Bugs Bunny, like him jumping the wall or whatever, and Bugs Bunny showing up in the Border Patrol outfit. I laughed at, and it didn't seem to be politically motivated. It was, well, who else is going to show up? What was it? What was going to show up there? A mall cop? It would be a Border Patrol agent. He jumped the wall. That's the joke.
Exactly. That was funny.
Yeah, I thought like this was a strong open to season 3, and I have to say season 3 I've enjoyed the most so far out of all of these. I laughed a lot with this. I have to tell you, my kids and I, our favorite character now is Cicero.
I knew it. I knew you were going to talk about Cicero.
We were cheering when his cartoon came up, and we probably had the biggest laughs of the season with his stuff. Like he's such a menacing like little character, but he's adorable at the same time. It's really funny how they handle him. And so the whole setup to that episode is Porky takes him bowling, and it was so funny because I don't know if you have a nephew or a niece or a cousin or something that's a child that you can relate this to. In my case, it was my son, where he's playing the video game and he's just like, "Please put down your video game. We're doing a real activity. We're playing a real game." And the look on Cicero's face, like just kill me. It was so funny. And I looked at my son, and my son even said, he was like, yeah, I know that's me. I'm like, I'm aware, very self-aware. But then it was like when he saw the opportunities to hurt Porky over and over and over again, and suddenly there was buy-in. I was howling with laughter. Like, it's not as funny as him burning the house down, but this was close.
That one is still the funniest I think we've ever seen on this show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of when he got. I wasn't a fan of the part where he stuck his fingers in Porky's nose, just because again the animation got a little too gross.
As soon as Porky's face was in the bowling ball, I'm like, oh, he's gonna get poked in the eyes, and I was like, okay, thank God it was just up his nose.
Okay, touche. I think actually one of my favorite ones was Frame the Feline. Again, this is something that I asked for when we reviewed the first season of this. Was I said we need to bring back more Looney Tunes characters. I said not that we don't love Bugs, we don't love Porky and Daffy, we don't love Elmer, we don't love Sylvester and Tweety, but the collection of Looney Tunes characters is so vast. I said we need to bring back more of these iconic characters, and we did. We get Hubie and Bert the mice, and we get Claude Cat, and it was so good seeing them again. I love that we go back to the classic formula of let's just screw with Claude until he gets kicked out of the house. The cheese store was very clever. I love just all the ways that Claude's trying so hard not to have the cheese be destroyed. Very funny. Just there's a bit where the owner's like, I'm coming out as soon as I put on my shoes. Okay, now I need to put on my lederhosen. Now I got to hang nail. I got to take care of it. And you don't see this. You just hear him say this while Claudia's freaking out trying to rebuild
frantically
reels
trying
of
to make
cheese. I loved it.
This is like the minorest of minor quibbles, but the one thing I was missing was I wanted one of the mice to say riot.
He did.
He did. I didn't hear it.
He did.
It's
a
feel
little
like he said something else. Okay.
He laughs and he goes, riot. It's a little off, though, because it's such a different voice actor. Obviously, Stan Freberg, rest in peace, is not doing the voice. But, and I will admit, it's weird because Hubie sounded dead on. Boyd sounded much deeper in tone. So when he said riot, it doesn't hit your ear the way you're used to.
Yeah, well, that's how I missed it then, I guess, because I was listening for it. I wanted to hear him say riot, and we never got there. At least I didn't hear it. So fine, he said it. Great. I missed it entirely for, I guess, the reasons you're citing. Petunia's in this season. It's the same gag as before. I was laughing because like they've made her so stupid, to where she's like, "Oh, I need fertilizer. Fertilizer is poop. Poop is garbage. I'll put garbage." And it was like that kind of logic proof, in her thinking. I was like, okay.
Yeah, and the minute she goes in and the lady's like, and I only had one weed to pull. I'm like, so where's the point where somebody says, "Oh, I have to get all of these pies made, and the only employees are the Three Stooges." It's like, wow, there's writing on the wall, and then there's this.
Yeah, I don't love the Petunia Pig stuff. I mean, it was one of those where it's like so stupid I had to laugh kind of a deal. Where like I didn't think it was witty. It was more like watching a guy. It was like Chevy Chase falling down the stairs. Like you laugh because like there are just things that are intrinsically funny to spite yourself. Like you don't want to laugh at it, but you do anyway. That's kind of the entire Petunia Pig short for me.
I do love that we get some more variety in the mini shorts in between, and we've now got Porky trying to throw Sylvester out for that. Why do people throw their cats out for the night?
I don't know, but there's an Overkill song called like "Shine On," I think it is, and the opening line is "Someone left my cat." Something about someone put my cat out in the rain. Which when we reviewed that Overkill album, I kept doing MacArthur Park.
Okay.
just long. Follow my logic. Anyway, I don't know. I assume it's a you're not able to watch the pet and the cat can be destructive. I don't know.
I don't know either. We got a couple of neighbors who let their cats roam free during the neighborhood. One who actually came up to our house in the middle of the night about a week ago and just started meowing to be let in. And I'm just like, this isn't your house. We actually ended up letting the cat in and let him stay overnight because it was so cold out. And this cat was just whining to be let in. And again, it's like, You don't live here, and we own dogs.
So you remember the old classic cartoon with Elmer Fudd with Uncle Wooey, and Uncle Wooey, if he takes care of the rabbit,
it's like, if I am leaving you $1 million on the provision that you do not harm any animals, especially wabbits. Yes,
Right.
we get the spiritual sequel to that with Uncle Woofus.
Yeah, only it's Daffy, and it doesn't work quite as well.
No,
Because Daffy is abusive. Where Bugs just kind of wanted to chill, and he was annoying. But you made this comment last season where Bugs has always been kind of an innocent, just chaotic, neutral character, where he's just sort of wandering through life, and he will retaliate when attacked, but generally speaking, he just wants to be left in peace. He was never like actively antagonistic. That was everybody else.
He was in the earlier cartoons when he was more wacky. Some of his first appearances, and again, Bob Clampett had him a little bit more antagonistic. But for the most part, it was nothing's bad will happen to you unless you screw with Bugs. Right.
And I feel like when they did the Uncle Louie, I can't do Uncle Wooey anymore. When they did Uncle Louie, in the previous cartoon, he was just, Elmer lived alone, and he didn't want to have to deal with a rabbit roommate who was in his shower and in his fridge, and was kind of a freeloader. But Bugs was just being Bugs. Bugs wasn't doing that just to mess with Elmer. Like a lot of what Daffy does in this one, he is doing directly to mess with Elmer. Like the whole thing was, and again, in the original cartoon, it's just such a quibbling point, but whatever, animation nerds. Like he legitimately got a letter saying that you're going to get this inheritance, just don't hurt animals. And then that final joke is with the inheritance tax, he owes them money. After everything that's happened, after all this abuse, he actually owes them money because, and then he chases Bugs and we're out of the cartoon. That's funny. Here, but Daffy's just trying to get in the house, and he comes up with the scam.
Well, also the Uncle Wooey cartoon starts off with Bugs being hunted by Elmer and his hunting dogs. Right. So you do get a little bit of a sense of this is retribution for you, nearly killing me. Because literally the letter from Uncle Wooey shows up as Elmer's got his gun pointed at Bugs' chest.
And it's so funny because he's like, I remember that cartoon. He's like, oh, well, I'm getting $1 million. Bye. And and Bugs like, we're in the middle of a tennis thing here. I need you to come back. And he's like, no, I'm done with you. So in that sense, Bugs is like, no, we had a thing and you abandoned me. So I'm gonna be in your face about it. Mm-hmm. Like I said, Daffy,
you're right. This one comes across. It's weird because Daffy is simply trying to find a place to stay for the winter because he doesn't want to fly south. And there is, again, this gag has been done before. There's oh my god, I think it's called Birth of a Notion, where Daffy tricks a dog into letting him stay for the winter. But again, it's not malice until he finds out that the dog's owner is an evil scientist who wants a duck's wishbone for his. Yeah, I know this sounds so weird. And Daffy's like, okay, then we got to get rid of this scientist. And the dog's like, he's my owner. I'm not doing that. Right. This one, it doesn't work because the minute that Daffy comes in, it's like all of a sudden he's being abusive. And the minute that Elmer even touches him, he's like, I'll call Uncle Woofus and say you broke my arm or something like that. And then it gets so surreal at the end with Uncle Woofus actually existing and a pet gorilla.
Yeah, it clearly, we've talked about this with the previous season. Clearly the group working on this have some exposure to one degree or another and some degree of reverence, presumably, for the Looney Tunes cartoons. And they're doing some updates. But I feel like with a lot of that, no one understands why things are funny or why things work. And so they were like, they missed the whole point of the Uncle Louie cartoon. And like, it would be funny in this one if at the end, the pet is not Bugs, but a gorilla. That's not what's funny about this. Yeah, that didn't work for me either. What works, though, is the last thing where they're running from the gorilla and you see Daffy it cuts to Daffy flying, and he was like, maybe flying south of the winter is not a bad idea. And there's Elmer flapping his arms right next to him. He's like, you said it, Buster. I laughed hard at that. My kids both looked at me. It's like, he doesn't have wings. All right. Captain Concrete won in the, and Concrete the Boy Wonder.
See what else we got here.
I mentioned before my daughter like hates Bugs Bunny and everything about him, and is like, why does he always win? So we had a good laugh at the one where he was like, well, if that's all you want to do is catch me, and then they go into the VR thing. It's like we can simulate you catching me, and then you'll be happy if that's all it is you really wanted. And then Bugs Bunny messing with Elmer and like tricking him that he's in VR with the scuba gear and the helmet. I had a good laugh at that. I enjoyed that.
I thought that was pretty funny too, especially since when he first comes out, and it's like it's a motorcycle helmet with a snorkel on it. I was like, I actually said to myself, I was like, wait, that's not a VR. Oh, I get how they're going with this. Okay. Yeah. We also got a really good one with Wile E. Coyote using a portal. He actually has like a two-way portal that he's trying to use to catch the Roadrunner, which again I thought was pretty funny. Not to mention, it had some very clever ideas. The way he actually throws one portal like a frisbee, and it catches up with the Roadrunner, so then he can poke his head out of the other one, and now his head is like on this flying frisbee about to catch the Roadrunner. Like, that's actually very clever. I liked it.
The other gag they do in that is that he's falling from a great height, as he's wont to do, and he uses the portal to get to a shorter height so he doesn't fall to his death. And he's like, okay, I'm safe, but then the portal falls on a cactus. Like, aha.
Yeah, again, that was good. I love that we get the return of Marvin the Martian when he tries to do tests on bugs. The yoga lesson one with Daffy actually genuinely made me laugh. I thought that was kind of funny. Let's see.
He's doing downward dog. This is it. These are all my favorite animals. I love taking surveys. Click.
That was really good.
I laughed hard at that.
Little disappointed in the one where Daffy and Porky were cavemen, because again, I thought it was starting off pretty funny. I mentioned before that I did like the idea that I know that Daffy is Daffy, and a lot of the previous shorts have always been Porky's the straight man, Daffy is crazy. But I do kind of like some of these where it's just like, no, they're just roommates trying to coexist. And this one I thought was kind of a funny setup. The kidney stone soup thing, though, again, I was like, no.
Oh my God. No. When he lifts up his feathers and shows that he's just a spine and ribs with one stone.
Ew,
I was like, yuck.
Again,
gross.
Whoever's doing the gross out humor for this show, you need to die.
Don't wish death on people on air.
I don't know the exact name of the person. I just hate the gag.
Oh my God. So this is the last one I want to talk about, and then I'll give it to you for the last word. Porky asks Daffy if there's someone out there who loves him.
The psychic, yes.
Oh my God. Like, what a range of emotions I went through with this. Because you feel for Porky, and like it's a nice setup, Porky's lonely, and Daffy sort of taking him on this ride, and finally at the end he was like, it's me, and suddenly they're in a marriage. Like,
I heard marriage. It's like not what I imagined, but I've heard marriage is all about compromise.
Yeah, it's like I said, like somewhere out there, whoever wrote that has some issues they need to work out. Not that I didn't laugh, because I'll laugh at anything that's stupid and funny, but like I saw that and I went, "What are you trying to tell me here? What is this all about?"
I thought it was funny as hell.
Yeah, I mean, for a moment, despite myself, I laughed. But the more I thought about it, I was like, I'm not sure if that sits well with me. But whatever. It's also a stupid 2-minute cartoon. Anything else you want to talk about with Looney Tunes before we close up for the night?
Like I said, I am impressed that everything that we said we wanted to see improved from the first season, we have been seeing it with Looney Tunes. We're seeing cut downs on the gross out humor. We're seeing more developed shorts. We're seeing a variety of characters. We're seeing them bring back more from the Looney Tunes encyclopedia of side characters. So again, it's like we're seeing progress.
Yeah.
They are moving in the right direction. It's still not anywhere near classic Looney Tunes, but honestly, I don't think that's a mountain that is ever going to be climbed. I don't think that these
No.
shorts are ever going to get anywhere near as good as classic Looney Tunes. But
Also, did
it
this
is
feel
getting a
shorter
lot
to
better.
you? Like the actual episodes, I think were only 10 minutes, and I don't think
Oh
they
yeah.
were they not 10 minutes in the past, or
Hang on, I will check. Come to me, HBO Max.
Because this was 9 episodes, and I feel like they were 10 minutes apiece, and then we knocked this out in about 90 minutes.
Yeah, I watched most of this last night before I freaking fell asleep. Hang on a second. OON Looney Tunes Cartoons.
All right, well, you do that. Let me.
Yeah.
Let me
Oh no! All of the episodes were like 11, 12 minutes.
Really, from previous seasons?
First season, 11 to 12 minutes. Huh. Second season, 11 to 13 minutes. Yeah, these were all short.
Huh. Interesting. Well, Alexis, one thing that we talked about in the past that has not improved and could use some improvements is the use of music. We're not getting a lot of the classic compositions that we've gotten from previous ones, from great composers and orchestras. And I think if you really want to hear some of the great old classical tunes in Looney Tunes cartoons, you can use our giveaway that we're doing. We're doing a free 30-day trial of the Amazon Music Unlimited service. The link is getamazonmusic.com/W2M network, which you can find in the description of this podcast. You can stream all the classical music you want or anything else, all 70 million songs for 30 days, no cost to you. Who doesn't love free? We all love free. Who wants to pay for it? Not me. So click the link, getamazonmusic.com/W2M network for your free 30-day trial. You like it, you keep it, you pay the monthly fee. After the first month, you can cancel it. No fuss, no muss, but really, why would you want to? All right. So that's it. That's our wrap up on Looney Tunes and Animaniacs.
I will say this. Like I said, it seems like the guys who make the new Looney Tunes shorts have been watching our podcast, because everything we've said they need to improve on, they have been. So I am going to make a prediction here, and let's see if it comes true. Speaking of Amazon Music, one of the great composers whose music was frequently used for classic Looney Tunes was Raymond Scott. He created that iconic powerhouse, dun 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 dun. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
So Warner Brothers, HBO Max, Looney Tunes, if you do in fact listen to our podcast, your goal for the next season is we need at least one cartoon with Powerhouse in it. Let's see if you guys are actually paying attention.
So this was well timed, because the next Looney Tunes season 4 allegedly drops January 20th. So we will figure out when we're going to do that. We might continue to split them up this way, because I don't think we can milk a whole hour out of these anymore. So we'll see what we're going to pair it with, or whatever. Alexis and I will talk off air and then figure out how we're going to do Looney Tunes season 4 and what else we're going to do. But I will tell you something we can milk a full hour conversation out of. The next time Alexis and I will be getting together just to do animation will be Hit Monkey from Hulu. I don't know, really quick, and we'll talk more about this on the actual review, but Hit Monkey apparently is a character from the Deadpool comics. Any familiarity at all?
None whatsoever.
Okay.
And I know I'm a pretty big comic nerd. You can thank Jesse for turning me into one.
Have you read much Deadpool?
Not that much. When you work the Comic-Con circuit like I do, Deadpool kind of becomes very similar to Harley Quinn. It's like you acknowledge good character, has some good books. You enjoy seeing them every now and then, but you don't actively look to include them more in your life because you see enough of them as it is.
Well, that apparently is where the Hit Monkey character is from, and they, much like MODOK, before the great demise of Marvel Television, this was one of these shows that was greenlit for Marvel exclusively. Much of the other stuff that was supposed to come out of the Offenders was canceled, but they kept MODOK, and the only other one they kept was Hit Monkey. So that dropped earlier, late last year. We were still in 2021. Earlier this year, like a month or two ago, it dropped on Hulu.
Late 2021, if you're watching this in the future.
Yeah, well, considering the future is tomorrow.
Go get Jesse for more time travel jargon.
So we're gonna get around to it in 2 weeks. The date on that will be January 13th. And hey, maybe eventually we'll get a date that sticks for Green Eggs and Ham, the second serving, and we'll talk about that too.
Please, please, please. I need it's like, sorry, that is one of the best TV shows we've reviewed in I don't know how long. I need more of that. It's so cute.
And you hit me up for Cuphead, and that, they did a trailer for Cuphead. What was that, like 6 months ago?
Something like that, yeah. No, I am really excited about the Cuphead animated series. The fact that they got Wayne Brady to play King Dice. Oh my God, perfect.
So yeah, it'd be nice if they actually released any of this crap, so we could talk about it. But we'll get there.
On COVID, everything got pushed back,
I suppose. In the meantime, tonight, myself and David Wright will be reviewing Foundation Season 1. Earlier this week, we did a triple feature of Ghost in the Shell, Aeon Flux, and Ex Machina, and then Ronnie Adams and I reviewed The Kingsman. Alexis, Hejna, Robert, and I reviewed for 2.5 hours The Matrix Resurrections.
Well, there was a lot to unpack with that movie. Yesterday,
myself, Jesse Starcher, Robert Cooper reviewed the first of 7 albums from Lordiversity, Superfly Trap, which allegedly came out in 1979. Time travel, baby. Tomorrow is New Year's Eve. We just have a re-airing of our Cobra Kai Season 2 to coincide with the release of Cobra Kai Season 4.
Yeah, and then sorry, we're all going to go get drunk. We don't have time to record anything new.
And then, well, that's not true. There are people recording, but it won't air for a few more days. And then January 1st, we are re-airing our Weird Al career retrospective that we did on the Metal Hammer of Doom. That was a super fun show. And then we kick off with brand new and exciting content on Sunday, January 2nd, with source material covering Billionaire Island by Mark Russell and You Season 3, which I am in the middle of watching now. So, Alexis, Hejna, go ahead and do your plugs.
All right. Well, firstly, we mentioned this on the Matrix Resurrections that we are going to go ahead and get ready pretty soon for our next bout of Tripped Up Trivia. For those who've been paying attention, we just aired our previous one not too long ago. December's theme, of course, was Christmas. We had so much fun recording that one. January's theme, this is the tie-in to the release of the movie Uncharted, which is going to be coming out in early 2022. The theme for January is video games. Old video games, new video games, Sega, Nintendo, Xbox, PC, Mac, whatever you play. If you are a serious gamer and you think you know your trivia, hit us up on Facebook or Twitter. Let us know that you want to play. And now onto the plugs that actually pay my bills, and that Mark has put up on the wall, pointing in the right direction there. Thank you. Is my company, Honeysuckle Rose Creations. I just got hit in the head with a dog bone. Thank you. We are currently doing our end of the year 15% off sale. If you didn't get everything you wanted for Christmas, head on over to our Etsy or Handmade at Amazon shop. As you can see, everything, including our necklaces, our earrings, our bracelets, our hair barrettes, our bobby pins, everything is 15% off. This is going to go on to the start of the new year, so go ahead and head on over. You just got a few more days. As always, you can find us on Facebook and Twitter. Our Instagram is temporarily down while we are dealing with, well, I'll just say we got hacked. I am dealing with a hacker who decided to try to make my life a living hell. So we're currently dealing with getting that fixed. But in the meantime, our Facebook and our Twitter pages are still open. So go ahead and hit us up on that if you got any questions, if you're interested in custom orders. Always love making something brand new and fun for the customers. We're also in the middle of putting together some new pieces. Right now working on some new stuff for our upcoming Comic-Con season. We are not on the road until at least March at the earliest. I need to go ahead and do our calendar, but we will have a bunch of brand new stuff, including we are in the middle of watching Arcane. I am looking forward to adding some new pieces inspired by those characters, especially since I am willing to bet easily that this is going to be the big cosplay theme for 2022. So again, just until the first of the year, go ahead and head over to Honeysuckle Rose Creations at our Etsy and Handmade and Amazon shop, where fashion meets fandom at the intersection of geek and chic.
All right, folks, thanks for joining us here on TV Party tonight. We'll be back a little bit later with more of your favorite television show reviews. For Alexis Hejna, I'm Mark Radulich. Be well, be safe, and behave.